Hey everyone. I am going to do a quick review. Not quick. Wait. Yeah, I'm long-winded. It's not going to be that quick, but it's not going to be all day either. I'm going to do a review about The Mockingjay. Well, Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, and it is the final book in the Hunger Games trilogy. Um, love part 1, love part 2. Something about Mockingjay just didn't hit me like the first two. I'm just going to warn you now, if you have not read this yet, or if you think you're going to read it one day, or if you just want to wait till all the movies come out, hit stop. Like right now, go to another video because I have spoilers. Probably have a lot of them. But you've been warned. Okay, so where do I start? Katniss in general, her attitude. I never got the. I mean, I fall in love with her attitude and her spunk and her moxie and just how like bold she is in the first ones, and how stuff gets done out of necessity, but how she's fearless. Like she's absolutely fearless. Excuse me, I'm hitting the computer. She's absolutely fearless in the first two books. Love that. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I think the more she starts to, I guess, deny her feelings for Peeta, and the more things start to happen around her, and then after they're broken out of the second arena for the Quarter Quell, I think that's after she starts to have her mental breakdown. I think that's where she gets weaker as a character. And yeah, I'm sure, going through everything she's gone through, that has some toll on you. But there was never a moment where I felt she pulled herself back up. She kind of redeemed herself in District 8 when she shot the hovercraft down. And I love the part where she says, what does she say to Snow? She looks directly in the camera and she walks to the camera, and it's like, we're here and we ain't gonna stop fighting. Like, we're not gonna stop until you're dead, basically. Like, the districts are sick of it. I love that part. I don't remember the wording verbatim, but it was something like that, and it was so strong. So strong. And then I was expecting that strength to, stay, but I felt like that it just leveled off and then it kind of fell back down. And I didn't feel like she pulled herself back up to that moment. She had her Mockingjay moment, and then it was like, I'm just a crazy 17-year-old girl who doesn't know what boy I like, and she just, I don't know. The Girl on Fire kind of lost her heat for me. As far as as far as the love triangle is concerned, Peeta, I was always convinced of Peeta. Like, just from the moment Peeta said, I came here with the girl who I care about. Like, I came to the games with the girl that I wanted to leave home. I just was like, Peeta is the man. And even when you thought he was with the careers in the first book, you kind of sense that, okay, something's going on here and we don't know about it yet. But I knew deep down that, he's doing this to protect her. I love how everything he does is to protect her. I feel like he's a real man. Like, he might not be the finest one, and he might not be the one all the girls are after, but he's a real man. Everything in his life is to protect her, and it always has been, even since he was younger. That I respect about him. With Gale, I never got the sense that Gale couldn't live without her. I think that she was an addition. Like, well, if I end up with her, cool. If I don't, I'll go work a fancy job in District 2. I got other hoes. Like, I just I never felt like Gale had the same feel. Like, he didn't need Kat. It was nice to have her around because they were alike. Like, it was nice to have a companion because they were so much alike. But I never got the sense, like with Peeta, that he had to be with her, and that everything in his life was about her well-being. I think some of the times where he just, this is not really a critique. This is just, like, I guess my ringing in on the characters, and kind of talking about the plot. But I think the times where he had a chance to stand up for her, he didn't. Even though like she probably was being irrational, but there were times he could have had her back, and I just didn't feel like he had her back as much. But yeah, I never got the sense like he was in love with her. I got the sense that he liked her a whole lot, and possibly kind of loved her, but never was fully in love with her, invested in his feelings for her. And no, I didn't get that. I got that from Peter all day. Like, even when he was crazy, he was trying not to hurt her. Like, he hurt her once, and then once he realized, like, oh wait, I can associate her with good things. Like, he still was trying to not hurt her and to protect her. And Peter's the man. I'm not, and disclaimer, I'm not a Team Peter, Team Gale kind of girl. That Twilight stuff doesn't belong. I love Twilight, but it doesn't belong with Hunger Games. I mean, yeah, you can say because there's a love triangle between teenagers. That's the only similarity. And people die. That's about it. But yeah, I think Gale was downright insulting when it got to the part where she sleep. They have their Edward Jacob tent moment. That's my only Twilight comparison. My only other Twilight comparison I'm gonna make. But when they had that moment where they're in the Capitol, they're in Tigress's basement. They're in this lady's basement from her store, and they're talking about her basically. And they're never enemies. The two of them never hate each other, because there are times where they try to protect each other for her sake. Peter more so than Gale, but I guess when Gale comes out his face and says something about she's gonna choose whoever she can survive with, I feel like he cheapened her and just completely that line pissed me. If I wasn't anti-Gale before, which I kind of was, like, had I not been anti-Gale before that line, I would have been like devastated, and I would have just said, you know what, screw Gale. But I had kind of been saying screw Gale the whole time throughout the entire series. That's just me. And then, to add worse on top of worse, his bomb is what probably killed her sister. And I think even then, he just kind of wrote it off. There was no sense of like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, there is nothing. He goes, there's nothing I can really say. My bomb probably killed her sister. Oops. Bastard. Like, Gale is a butthole. I like Gale. I want to like Gale. I just never quite get there. He's not lovable for me. And then, I think she was of course she's right, because it's her story. But I love the fact that she admitted it and said, Gale represented me basically being stagnant and not moving forward. And he represented rage and revenge and hatred toward the Capitol. He was so hell-bent on his hate for the Capitol, he forgot about his heart. With Peter, yeah, he hated the Capitol. He wanted to show them that they didn't change him, and he wanted to fight against them, but do it in a way where some peace was infused, and good things will end up coming out of it. Like, he represented hope, and he does, and that's why he's great. And she's now Mrs. Mellark and not Mrs. Hawthorne. Some of the additional characters, when it came down to Finnick, I was so mad. Like, at first I thought Finnick was such a D-bag. I'm trying not to cuss. I'm trying really hard not to cuss. But I thought he was such a D-bag. I was like, oh, you... In the second one, I was like, he's such a dude. But he started kind of showing his heart, and he started showing... It was something about him. Like, seeing him save Peter and do some of the stuff he did in the arena, I was sold on Finnick. And I just felt like it did a great disservice to have him die the way he did. I don't feel... If he had to die, I don't feel like his death was noble enough. I wish he would have went down guns blazing, fighting for democracy and freedom in their country. I wish he would have went down saving somebody's life. No, he dies trying to get away from something, running. He dies running. He's not saving anybody. I could see if he would have like, no, Cat, you go up the steps, and then he got tore up helping her get up the steps. That would have been different. But just the fact that he just kind of died. I got decapitated by a mutt. I just felt like that was so disrespectful to him. And then the fact that he just got married, he has a baby. Like, we didn't know, like, when he died, we didn't know he had a baby on the way until, like, the end. We knew that, you know, Finnegan Annie's baby was born. I did like how he was giving new life through the baby. But, like I said, his death could have just meant so much more than what it represented. That got on my nerves. Prim's death was sad, but I felt like it was necessary, like, as far as the story is concerned, to give Kat that kind, like, I think that put a fire back under Kat's butt a little bit. It did give her a reason to finally tell Gail. You know, it did give her a reason to, like, okay, I'm going to go through this assassination because, you know what, I'm pissed. The one thing I've been trying to protect, one of the things I've been trying to protect, should I say, the entire time is gone. So somebody's going to pay. You kind of knew Prim was going to get it at some point. I'm sad that Prim had to go, but yeah, you knew she was going to get it. Who else? Other than that, I mean, you kind of knew Boggs was going to die. You kind of knew a lot of the soldiers were going to die. Jackson, I didn't expect to die. I thought Jackson would live, but I think overall the story, as far as what happens in the story, like the overall plot is great, but the details is what some of the details is what pisses me off. I don't hate it though. I definitely don't hate it, because some people said they hated it. I don't hate it at all. But I'm not going to sit here and be like gushing over it either. It was beautifully written as far as the language that she decided to use, just the wording and different things like that. I think Suzanne Collins is amazing when it comes to that, but just her choices for some of these characters and their motivations, it bothered me a little bit. Either way, I'm excited for all the movies to come out. If I can find a way to get in one, I will. Extra, if I gotta play Rue's mama in Catching Fire, I will play Rue's mother. Think I won't. Like, I'm in love with the story itself. I like the whole dystopian thing. I like where she came from with. I love how she used Greek mythology and made it something new and fresh. And this could very well be where our country would be heading if it was put in the wrong hands. It's something to think about. I do like how she played with some political things, like how you either had a really hedonistic, capitalistic society versus it's communism. It was this communism thing going on where everybody dressed the same. Everybody did this. You were assigned where to live. You were told where to live. You were told what your schedule was. Like, you didn't have a whole lot of freedom. I mean, you weren't getting killed for, skipping your schedule, but there was this lockdown. Everybody had to be the same. So it did kind of play that whole capitalism versus communism thing, which I thought was definitely really smart, for her to use. The only question, I don't know if anybody else knows this, but I don't know, because I questioned this throughout the whole series, and then I happened to come across a video of Suzanne Collins reading, and when she was reading, I kid you not, oh shoot, I hurt myself. I kid you not, this is how she was reading. It was like, my lips are just forming his name when his fingers lock around my throat. Like, she was reading it like with more like a twang. So I'm guessing because they are from the Appalachian area. I wasn't sure if they were from my state in Pennsylvania, like that little piece of that Appalachian that goes through there, or Appalachian as we say it. I wasn't sure how far south, or if she was in Kentucky or something. I didn't know like where she was, but I mean, I kind of questioned it because of some of the sentence structure. So once I saw Suzanne Collins reading with that accent, or reading that in that way, I was like, oh, that makes sense. So you tell me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll do it in the movie. To me, Liam Hemsworth, I can hear a little twingy in his voice, but I know he's Australian, trying to speak with an American accent. So maybe that could be why I think he might have a little southern thing going on. But either way, amazing story, amazing everything. Details piss me off, but 5 stars for all around. I give the last book 4 on its own, but the trilogy definitely 5. All right, deuces.